Okay, in these next couple videos, let's go ahead and cover the shops, what they do, how we built them. Like if you click on, say, the parking lot, you'll get this, and um, each little shop in here. It's going to take a couple videos to cover them all, though, because I built a few of them. If we go to the shops in our database, you'll see that they have an ID, the player owner ID, the name of the shop, the level, the greeting, the type of shop it is, the price, the randed, the tag, the locale, the city, and how much cash it has, because it collects cash. Is it, instead of the cash going directly to the player, they can see how much cash they have in there. One thing I want to do want to say is, like with my randed, if you are just watching this Urban Realms and you didn't watch my browser-based mmorg, I would recommend you watch that first, especially if you're new to PHP, because you'll kind of understand. I'm not going to go into explaining what this randed is in this video because I explained it in full on the how to make a browser-based mmorg. Now, all you have to do is watch them. There's only like 20 videos, and you don't have to go along with it. Just watch it so you get more comfortable with PHP, and then when you come here, you'll understand exactly what I'm doing, because I'll tell you now, almost all my coding is the same through almost all my games. So once you learn a little bit of it, you'll be comfortable with it and you'll be able to see what I'm doing. And I'm not a complex coder. I do things real easy, especially when I'm doing these games to where you guys can understand them, and there'll be a lot of cleanup you guys will be able to do to them. But moving on, let's go to let's open up our code, and in index on our map, you'll notice how if it's a shop, um, let's say a park or a doctor or a house, it's going to go to locations. And if we pull up our locations, you'll see that like this workshop brings us to locations. So let's pull up locations, and let's just start at the top because it's going to be, there's a lot in here. Basically, the first bit of it's the same. I'm just pulling some tags here, the get tags. One thing I did do is they're going to be, you may wonder what all this is right here. Some of these variables are going to turn into post tags instead of being get tags. Like sometimes I'll send a get tag, and the next time it'll be a post tag, and you'll understand once we get in here. And that's the reason why I have this. If there's a post tag of tag, like in other words, if it's a get and it's in the name of it, let's say doctor. If it's a variable called of doctor and it's a get method, then we're going to go ahead and pull it and call it doctor. But let's say, and I'll show you down here that it's actually going to be a post and not a get, then I'm going to pull it here too, just to make sure that doctor always comes up as doctor, whatever that may be. First thing we want to do is we want to select our shop. Select all from shops where the tag equals the tag. Your locale is pretty much where you're at. We start with doctor's office. We print out doctor's office. Let's go ahead and go to a doctor's office. I can't tell you which one of these is the doctor's office because I'm not quite sure. Let's see. Cafe, sport. There we go. Doctor's office. Kind of looks like one. And you'll see here's where it's printing out what we have. And like I said before, the shop owner panel is only going to show up. And right here, if is set MA and heal, none of this has been set yet, so it's all going to be bypassed, and it's all going to be brought down here to the very last bottom doctor main menu. None of this other variables are set, so it's going to open up here. If bypass does not equal 1, we didn't bypass it. So we're going to put our greeting. We're going to put medical attention, buy medical supplies. If the player's name is equal to the shop's owner, in other words, is what that's saying, then give him the shop owner panel because he's the owner, and that's add items to sell. So if we go back here and let's say we want medical attention, the office can heal you for a max of 15 hit points for the cost of 10. That 10 it comes out of the database where that price is. Per 15 hit points, and you can see the doctor. You can leave, and you can see how that works by playing with it. I'm not going to really go into it. One thing I haven't done yet, and because some people set this up differently, is whenever I put leave, it always brings you back to the map. You can easily go in and change that just by changing the location of each one of these buttons, and it's not that hard. And just put it back to the doctor's office, and you may have to pass the tag back, but it's not hard. Or buy medical supplies, and he's got acorns in there, and these actually come from the shop inventory, which is right here. I separated all these so you don't have this massive database full of stuff. All the shops inventory are going to be right here, and you can see it's sharing it with other shops, but it's set up by the actual shops, shop IDs, and this right here is wrong right here. So let's delete that out of there. But anyway, you can see that the acorns are in there. And we can leave, and it's going to bring us back to map, and this is what I was talking about. You can change that leave button to make it go back to the doctor. All you gotta do is pass the variables. And then if you're a shop owner, you can add items to sell. I have no medical based items to sell, but you can add some to your shop inventory and see how that works. And we're going to kind of go through that right now real quick. Scroll back up to the top and you'll see first thing is use doctor. If is set get heal, then bypass is going to equal 1. The max hit points is the shop, and you've seen where it said it can heal you up to 15 hit points. Well, if it's a level 2 shop, it can heal up to 30, and it'll automatically say that. But since I was a level 1 shop, it's only 15. First thing we're going to do is we're going to select. Now the player has stats called first aid and IQ, so it's going to be the player's doctor's offices are based off his stats. He's kind of like the doctor, so it's going to select IQ and first aid, where the name equals the player owner. So it's going to pick the player owner, and then these are all this down here. I'm not going to go a whole bunch into it, but this is just my, I guess, algorithm into how well it's going to heal, and you can kind of go over that. It's just doctor skill equals your first aid plus your IQ. The heal score is just a random between 0 and the max hit points. Your doctor score is the random between 0 and your total doctor skill, and then it says, you know, if your heal score is higher than the doctor score, then you get so much. Else your final hit points is max. So if you didn't score very high, then you're not going to get you're not going to get healed as much if the doctor didn't do as well. If the heal score equals the max hit points, then final hit points equals 0, crit equals 1, HP mod equals max hit points minus the player 3 hit points. So let's see what happened here. We have our hit point mod equals the max hit points that you have minus the player hit points. The final hit points is if the final hit points is greater than the hit point mod. So in other words, it doesn't want you going over your total, the total being able to be modded. And then the doctor has healed you for the final. It sounds really crazy and really complicated, but it's not. Just read through it and you'll figure out exactly what I'm doing. All I'm doing is I'm setting it up to where you can't go over the max level hit points, and this crit here is going to fall into place when we come down here, whenever we're actually, see right here, if crit equals 1, then the doctor made a critical failure. In other words, if he didn't score high enough, then he made a mistake and something's going to happen.